So let's talk about freedom. How old were you when the first elections in South Africa took place?
I was actually not born yet, and I was born in March. So, yes, I was born into freedom.
Okay, so you were born into freedom. So 1994 is the date that you were born. So as you grow up and became aware of South Africa's apartheid past, what did you and still think about it? Of it?
Of it.
Yeah.
So, as we were taught the history of apartheid in school, we sat in the classrooms not knowing how it was going to affect us. We didn't know that what we were being taught was so significant. But it only comes to be as significant as it should as soon as you leave university. And that is when you start seeing what it is actually like when you enter corporate, my opinion personally. And my opinion on apartheid is it is nothing else but dictatorship, censorship, exercising control, exercising power. And with that said, I didn't think I would say this, but 5 years ago I would not have said this. It angers me. It creates pain within me. Because thinking of it, I still have to raise children in this country. So it creates so many emotions in me.
Right. I'm sorry to hear that you have such a painful experience. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the reality. And as Marshall put it now, is that growing up in South Africa, when you're in the schooling system and the university system, you really do not encounter apartheid until you start working and you're in different spheres, and the protection is not there anymore because schools are integrated, universities are integrated, the lecturers look like you, but the moment you enter a corporate sector, it's a completely different story. So I'm sorry that you had to and still go through it and feel like this still in South Africa. Which brings me to an important thing. It's like Freedom Day. 27 April 1994 was the first elections, and it's marked in South Africa since then as Freedom Day. Do you think that it's a day still worth celebrating, given the way you are feeling?
Definitely. I definitely think it is a day we have to keep alive. And unfortunately, I do not think that we as a country are working together to keep the day alive through celebration, through coming together, Jacob.
Okay, so in your way, how do we celebrate it then? How do you see this coming together?
I see coming together through runs, Freedom Day runs. And the meaning behind the Freedom Day runs is, yes, we are not there where we need to be. It's almost 30 years. But we have to run away from the segregation. We are not one yet. We need to run towards it. And runs will bring the community together. And I'm not speaking about comrades or two oceans, because it's not for everyone. Running is not for everyone. I'm speaking about fun runs. Community prize, community projects, handing out soup to the community, food for the community. I'm speaking about, I had something else in mind, but I can't get to it now. But something that always comes to mind when I think of it is like, I get emotional a day before Freedom Day. And I think about 46664, you know, and I was still a child during the time, but it was a big, big day, you know. Beyonce came to the concert, that I remember. But it's the getting together, and it was an official day. And that is what I think what is needed to keep the day alive.
All right. So what happened the day after? On the 28th?
On the 28th. The 27th was...
No, I'm saying the day after you have the celebration, aren't people going back
to work?
To work in their normal life?
That's also what I wanted to say now before you interrupted me. But as you know, we have Heritage Day, which is Braai Day. It became Braai Day in South Africa. So I think personally the day, Freedom Day, has more significance to it in comparison to Heritage Day. However, it's not about the braaiing. It's not about liquor. And that is what our community needs to work away from. Because whenever there's a community get together, and it's a sad truth, you know, I have to speak on this. There always needs to be alcohol involved. And there's never any good coming from it, you understand? Because it tears families apart. It's the reason for so many pain in so many children's lives. So it's possible to go to work the next day. However, I don't think there's a need for alcohol to be involved. So I think it's possible to hold something like that. However, alcohol should be out the door.
So here's a question. It's one of the questions I didn't give you, but I think it's important to ask you. If you were the president, if you were in President Cyril Ramaphosa's shoes now.
Hey, Cyril.
Hey, Cyril. What would you do?
What would I do?
In terms of Freedom Day and just freedom in general, what would you do?
Get involved into the community. Go into the community. Listen. Jesus loved the kids. Go to the kids, Jacob. That is how we are going to change this country. Go to the kids, grant them, listen to them, hold like fun, playful days, that specific day. Give them hope. Give them hope.
So are you saying that the president can spend some more time with young people in South Africa?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Especially on that day.
It's actually something that if I'm the president, I'm listening to this, I'll take it to heart, because that's the last sector that people want to talk about, because they think young people doesn't have a voice, they don't see.
Exactly.
And if you can go to them and you say, like, you are the next generation, you are the ones that is supposed to go beyond the struggles that you just highlighted, then we will not get into the cycle of repeating again.
Exactly.
So go to the young people and listen what they have to say. So let's talk about women. You're a woman, or can I say you're a woman? Do you identify as a woman?
I am a woman.
Okay, so you identify as a woman. So as a woman, let's talk about gender-based violence in South Africa. Would you say women are free if we consider the rate of gender-based violence, rape and femicide in South Africa?
I wouldn't say we are free now, because we always have to be scared. Wherever we go, we are scared. And you always have to have your guard up in South Africa. You never feel safe. there's many times, and I'm not making this about me, whenever I'm driving, I'm scared. When I go to the gym, I'm scared. And I tend to go to the gym at night. So I know anything is possible during those times. However, I cannot not go because of being scared. So it feels to a certain extent that you're putting yourself at risk. You understand? But no, we are not free in this country. And we're still getting there, I must say. We have the freedom we always wanted as women. We have rights. So we are getting there, Jacob. It's going to be a hard work. But if you, and I know this has nothing to do with gender-based violence, and speaking about gender-based violence actually makes me feel uncomfortable because it's not something I've experienced, you understand? However, I know that it touches so many young girls, women, day to day to day to day. And it all boils down to the power of the man. And the power of the man, when you look in parliament, when you look at the board, in corporate, you know, you can pinpoint the ladies or the women in there. So it all boils down to power, and it has to change. And yes, women are being educated, they are getting educated, but the ratio of man to woman is taking much slower to change. Yes.
So what can we as men do? Because I identify as a man, and I'm sitting opposite you. So what can we do? Because yes, there's parliament, there's boards, but there's small things that men like me and people who identify as men can do to make it a safer space and a more welcoming space for women in society. So what is it that we can do?
Can I say this in Afrikaans?
Yes.
Hou jou hande in jou oë vir jouself.
So what that means is keep your hands and your eyes to yourself.
And stop judging us for what we say, how we say what we say, what we wear, what we choose to do.
Oh, that's simple. It's really simple. It's just straight to the point. It's like you know exactly what you wanted to say with that particular question. So finally, let's talk about the future. Is there a future for the youth and the generation to follow in this country?
Yes and no.
Let's start with the yes.
Okay. Yes, it depends. So, yes, good schooling is required. Very important. And not a person, but a pupil who is enrolled in a private school has a gateway to university entrance compared to a pupil in a public schooling disadvantaged background, you know. For that pupil to excel, that specific pupil has to work 10 times as harder. Not only is there chores, there is mental breakdowns, there's gangsterism, there's community violence, there's drugs. There's so many distractions in that pupil's life. So that person has to put in 10 times the work. And for that specific child, you know, to excel from his or her peers, that child has to find the correct support system, find what is needed to excel. If that child wants to excel, and if that child has a burning sensation. So it all boils down to who you surround yourself with, Jacob. And something so simple, choices.
All right. Marshall, thank you very much for that. I have to agree. Growing up thinking about why am I one of the few people who made it out of a small community, it's really the people you surround yourself with. If you surround you with people who are not trying to catch on shit, break in here, smoke that, you're already in a much better stance. And then choices. I agree with you, is you don't have to make bad choices. The bad choices is the easy one. The good choices, in my limited experience in life, is the ones that is always difficult. Is the ones that you need to have foresight in, thinking about what is the implications on everyone. Because if you break in or join a gang, what effect is it going to have on my family? What is going to affect on my brothers, my sisters, my friends? How is that going to affect me? But then again, are the parents able to give you what you want? Is the parents the example that you need? Are the parents the good ones that you surrounded yourself with?
Very mental.
Yes, because sometimes the parents is involved in gangsterism, the parents is involved in drug dealing, the parents is so deep involved in many of these things, and they overlook these things. So I agree with you. Those are the two things that I think young people can take from this. Michelle, thank you very much for coming through and have this conversation on freedom with me. I enjoyed it a lot. I learned many things from it, especially what men can do. That Afrikaans saying, how you open your hand for yourself and keep your hands and your eyes to yourself. I think that deserves a t-shirt that women have to care. But then again, they look at a t-shirt. So it's just something that needs to be engraved in men's mind. You don't have to be that pervert in society. Keep your hands and your eyes to yourself. Michelle, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob. And lastly, I would just like to say one thing you taught me was your reputation is guarded by the company you keep. And that is golden. So thank you so much for having me. And you really taught me so much in life. And you gave me so much growth. Mentally, in my career, personal life. I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Jacob.
All right, thank you.